Hey guys, it's Nate, aka The Foot Accountant. Welcome back to the second channel. Guys, UFL made waves this last weekend with their open beta, and of course, us being able to play another football game for the first time. There were many great things in the short trial that we had, and also some not great things. Today, I want to break down what we saw, learned, and now expect from UFL, as we may have found a game that can compete with FC or the FIFA franchise. So if you're excited for it, drop a thumbs up, and of course, comment down below what you guys thought of the UFL beta. I really want to hear some of your guys' thoughts as well. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So let's just talk about UFL, guys, because the biggest thing about this game that we were excited about was a change in the gameplay. Not necessarily the content that they released. Oh, sure, we were curious about that, but it was the gameplay of UFL that was promised to be different, to be free-flowing, to be free of the DDA, of the lag, of the glitches that we are so commonly used to seeing with FC. And as you guys saw, a lot of people were posting their thoughts. This was my thoughts after playing the game for a few hours on that first day and then playing it a lot more over the weekend. Like, honestly, my initial response is this is good. Of course, keeping in check and keeping myself reminded that this is the first time ever that they released a beta for a brand new game, an open beta, which says a lot for them, by the way, that they want to bring out their game and show their game for the first time to everybody and literally give everybody a chance to play it. Like, first looking at the game, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it looks like FIFA, it looks like FC, because the graphics are on par or maybe even better. Maybe you saw some of those screenshots floating around on Twitter of like the graphics on FC versus the graphics on PES and then the graphics on UFL. I mean, the UFL graphics, guys, were phenomenal. Like, the face scans were great. Even the little things like the grass and the ball and the textures and all of that, they were really, really good. But the gameplay in general, like, it was definitely different. It was 100% different. As I mentioned in this tweet, it was slower, but responsive at the same time. Like, it felt like your players were doing what you asked of them. There were a few times where some glitches, some lag, just because it is a bit of an unfinished game. I remember on a corner, I had one player like jump like 5 times above the rest. It looked like he just got shot out of a cannon off the ground and just jumped straight up in the air to try to head the ball. So there was a few things like that. And then some few, I don't know what you would call it, but just like, I was even literally just watching the gameplay back just a minute ago, and I tried to attempt a tackle, and my center back kind of like glitched out of position as he made the tackle. So there were definitely some things with gameplay, like right there you see the tackle backs, and there were some bounce backs that were a bit of an issue, especially with the top tier meta players. Like, I saw Nick post a clip where his Salah had some crazy bounce back, like kind of an attacker winning the ball off of a defender just after the attacker had lost it. And Mbappe did that a bunch as well for me. So there were some issues. There really were. But it felt refreshing. That's the word that I keep coming back to, is that it was so refreshing to play something different that felt competent at in one sense, but also felt like it needed some work. I feel like there was multiple ways to score. I feel like the tackling was mostly consistent. Jockeying and just honestly the player speed was what was a little bit slow. Like, you know, on FC, like after going from this to FC, going back to the game, I was like, oh my goodness, my players turned so quick. When I, do a left stick dribble in FC, it was so faster than this. But I think that's just the gameplay build and how the UFL game is right now. I think it could become what it was and what it is in FC in terms of bits and pieces that we really like about FC. And I think the jockeying and the player of movement was just one of those things that we were struggling with a little bit, being used to playing what we are used to playing, because the players did not move as fast on the pitch. But I think the passing is what kind of, like you see that through ball right there, maybe a little bit unrealistic. That was a great pass as well. The passing being what it was, I think, made this game a lot more, felt like you were in control. And that was something that was good. Definitely some things needed some tweaking, as you can see there. Some of those through balls look pretty crazy, but the passing was really, really good and fun. You could play that tiki-taka build-up. Crosses, one thing I will say about the crosses is that the ball flight and the trajectory looked a little weird, especially like when you were on a corner. It was like the ball would come flying in, but then it looked like it just hovered in midair and slowly got to the heads of the attackers and defenders that were defending there. One thing I noticed too about penalties is that it was the old system. the old system like we had in FIFA where it was you kind of pick your spot, right? Same thing with corners. It gives you the little circle, you aim the circle and you take the corner. And I think the corners and penalties were like exactly on that spot every single time. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, honestly, guys, we could talk about the gameplay for a while. That was the main thing about this game that we cared about, right? Because we are wanting something that is different from FIFA, from FC. It didn't feel like there was too much DDA involved. Yeah, I just come back to the graphics and I come back to the tactics as well. Like there were a lot of more in-depth instructions for like the marking for the defenders. You could choose man mark, you could choose zonal marking. It just felt very, very in-depth. And I wish I would have had more time to really try to dive into a few of those things. But I think that that sort of detail is something that we all want and we all love. That's a very real life concept, whether it's man mark or zonal mark. I thought that was really, really neat. So gameplay wise, honestly, guys, I just think we have to remember that it is a beta and there's going to be some changes and there's going to be some updates. And the thing that I love too is that all over their Twitter, their X account this weekend, UFL was posting, asking for squad checks, asking for feedback. If you guys have not given feedback, make sure you go ahead and go to their Twitter. There is some links there where you can provide some feedback. They've got a whole bunch of links. So just click around on some of their tweets. There's I think it's a survey actually that you can go to and provide some feedback. So that's the one thing I wanted to point out there. I want to talk about just the hype that it brought as well and the numbers. This tweet is crazy to me. Well, first of all, my tweet after playing the game got 1 million views. That is like one of my most viewed tweets ever. That was nuts to me. But then you look at the UFL tweet of their stats for that day. This is just the first day, chat. Guys, this is not Twitch stream. Day one, right? You see, this is the first day that this beta was out. 1 million plus total installs. UK, Brazil, Germany, top 3 countries, 62,000 peak concurrent players online, and 4.5 million goals scored. So that's 1 million installs on day one. Guys, I was blown away with the amount of hype and just like the community wanting another football game or interested in trying another football game. Not just because EA has its problems and all that, but I just think that people realize that UFL had brought some hard work. It got freaking Ronaldo on the cover, and they got the licenses. They got the Unreal Engine, which is great. And it just brought a lot of hype for something refreshing and something different. Even the way the menus in the game was set up was a totally different grind, which I think a lot of people were cool with as well, myself included. So that's actually what I want to talk about next. I want to talk about the menus. I wish I could log in and show you guys, but since the servers are down, it is not actually there. I think the features were solid. Like, I think it was very different, of course. Like, you load into the main screen and you see your players right there. I thought that home screen was sick. It was clean. It was sleek. I love the players. Like, they do some kick-ups. The ball would come flying in, all that. That was cool. And it seemed... The game itself seems to not have a ton of, what would the words be, like features, I guess. It was pretty simple, but I think that was because it was a beta. One of the coolest things that I thought that was a lot different than other stuff before was the skins. I'm trying to find here where I actually got into some of the skin stuff because we opened plenty of like the skin packs, if you will. And those were, yeah, these right here. Those were very interesting because it felt like you were packing the player and we were used to that. But it actually wasn't like that too much at all because you were packing a skin, which then you would have to apply to the player that you would buy off of the market. And the market was a completely different thing from what we were used to as well, because instead of just buying the player, right, for the price of whatever he was on the market, you were actually buying the player for the set price. And it was also crazy because, like, you see the prices for some of these cards, right? Like Militao is 85 million coins, CP. Like, it was mental. You also had to have the RP, which was a little bit annoying. I think I understand what they were going for with that. I just worry, though, guys, because as you take a look at one of these tweets that they posted on UFL's account, they posted... they said, like, hey, show us your team. And this was the first day, right? This was the first day of the beta. And people already have Messi and Mbappe and Courtois in here. And Vinny, like, this team, this guy already has all these insane cards, and he's already got some skins as well. I'm sure that the progression was boosted because it was an open beta and they wanted players to try the game and to get some of the cards that they would want to use and try out. But it did seem like, you would honestly be able to conquer this game pretty fast. So that's the one thing. I know this is not a final version because there's a lot of updates probably and a lot of things that they didn't show us. Like, I can't imagine that this is the only mode they're going to have in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, with just having the ranked play and like a kickoff mode. Those are like the two things they had: play local or do the ranked. I think it was great that they started with that, but I doubt that was the only thing they're going to have here. It just seemed like maybe with the way this was set up for right now, it would be pretty easy to like conquer the game, if you will, and to like get everything completed and like have an insane team super fast, which is one of the reasons why, you know, something like PES and other games in the past have not done that great, is because you can conquer them so fast. So that's why I worry about the longevity a little bit. And then again, you had your club, you had the market, you had the skins for your players, and then you had the events tab, which was kind of like the season pass. So it just felt like the gameplay was the focal point of this whole beta, which I totally think was the right thing to do on their part, because that was the most important part for us, right? As a lot of us playing FC are thinking we want different gameplay, we want better gameplay, and it just felt like this was a step in the right direction. It wasn't a complete like fix, of course, or it's not like, oh, EA is going to go buy these guys out right now because they want their game. You know, like that's something I think we have to honestly entertain the thought of here too, is that, guys, EA could actually buy out UFL in the future. If UFL has a game that is this good, and FIFA has the content, FC has the content and the partnerships that UFL has some really big names like the Ronaldo, I think Trent, Firmino, there's Zinchenko, a lot of other players have invested in the game and they're a part of the team. But like, that's something that could happen too in the future, is that EA could be like, okay, people really like UFL, their game play is way better than ours. They've built up something sick. Let's just buy them and put the UFL gameplay in with FC with the content, and then boom. You know, that's honestly, that would accomplish what we as the community want, right? We want a better, more consistent gameplay experience. That's the last thing I'll say about gameplay. One of the reasons why games like Fortnite and other games that have, you know, stood the test of time are still being played today, and they're so popular and so hype, is that every time you go into the game, you're getting a near the same gameplay experience every time. And there's different ways to play the game, right? With all the different things you have of Fortnite, all the updates and all that. But the gameplay is the one constant. And that is what we do not have on FC, right? The gameplay on FC feels different between 2 hours ago when you played and right now, with whatever you might call it, DDA, server connection lag, all that stuff. Like it's never consistent. It rarely is consistent. And this game felt pretty consistent, and that's a really, really good start. And again, this is a beta. I will say that many times in this video. We said a lot over the weekend. I have hopes for them to update things and change things. And I think it was just, honestly, it was a better start than I was expecting. I mean, I said it in this tweet. I said that this literally is the second best football game on the market, and this is with the level that it's at, and it's a free open beta for the first time. So I think that there was a lot of excitement there for me. I also loved how the UFL accounts treated the community. Of course, the servers went down because they have a crazy amount of people logging in onto this game the first day, the second day, trying to get stuff done and excited to play this game. And they fixed it like within an hour or so. Like, this tweet was made at 2:46 p.m. my time, and they said 3:53 we'll be back with updates. And they give out LP to people too, bro. They give out 20,000 LP. When did EA? That was the equivalent of like FIFA points, by the way. When would EA give out FIFA points for their servers being down after they fixed it, instead of the coming days, in the coming minutes, right? So yeah, I guess it was down for like an hour. That's crazy that was fixed that quickly, that it was compensated like that as well. So that was really, really sick. I loved how the UFL account like really treated the community and was like, hey guys, we want to hear from you, but how they did the little things right, and how they fixed those issues and compensated for things that were like, we're not used to getting compensated in terms of like coins and in-game stuff while the game is down. So that was actually really, really nice. And what was the other thing I was going to say surrounding this? Oh, I loved the small things, like it gives you a win when your opponent quits at the draw. That was really sweet. It didn't seem as pay to win, again, with the setup, and I think that is something that I'm holding lightly right now. Like the setup of the menus with the skins and stuff like that, I just feel like that's going to change in the future. I don't know how it's going to change. I don't know what exactly is going to change through that. But I just think, who did I pack here? There was a legendary. Oh, it was Casemiro. That KDB skin was super duper dope. And this skin animation pack opening was kind of cool too. I just feel like there's got to be more levels to this in the future with the skins and other pieces of content. But I totally understand UFL maybe not wanting to show their own hand, show their whole hand in an open beta that is free. It was mostly, I think, this weekend or this past weekend, guys, it was for the gameplay. That was the biggest part of it all. Now, of course, things could change with all this stuff as well. Maybe as more people get on, you know, and provide feedback, could the game be changed for the worse? Yeah, I mean, there's technically that could happen as well. But I just feel like we're off to such a great start here. And I promise I'm not glazing because I'm, you know, not paid to glaze. Literally, I got the game early. People were like, yo, Nate, bro, you got a hashtag ad. Like, nah, man, you're glazing this game because you were paid to. Nah, nobody was paid to play UFL early. It was just the early access is what they gave out to the content creators. So we had the same experiences that you guys did. And we were allowed to be honest, and they wanted us to be honest. Like, everything that they say in here is like, yo, give us your honest feedback. So again, they ended with stick around for what's coming next. We're just getting started. Your feedback rocks. It's time to gather it all and get to work. So I guess we stay in tune and we stay up to date with UFL. I hope they do another open beta soon because they really generated a lot of hype. The last thing I will say is that the way the game is set up with the menus and with the skins and all of that, I don't know. Again, I worry about the longevity piece. I think that is the thing that worries me the most because FC24 FIFA games, they're just year-round. They're cyclical because the content is just never-ending and it's just always going. With the whole skin thing, there's got to be something else they're adding to it. Oh, that's when I packed the Mbappe skin. Yo, that was crazy. A lot of people got that skin, but that was pretty nuts. I just worry about, will this game be able to last if the content is not as good as FC? But then again, that's where I think maybe it doesn't have to be. It is okay that it's something different where maybe we don't have SBCs. Maybe we do have the whole skin aspect and something to that regard because it's something different to do. And it feels like you're more in control of upgrading your team and that sort of thing. But I think that some people will see this as like, oh, there's no SBCs. The objectives aren't that crazy. There are objectives, but they're not as the same. You know, some of the features that FC has that this one didn't right away, I think people are writing it off as well. So that's enough yapping from me. I want to know what you guys thought about UFL, man. I'm excited for this to come out again and for us to have another opportunity at playing it. I guess we just followed their Twitter account. Make sure you give feedback, though. Honestly, like, go to their Twitter. I think it was like their second or third most recent tweet. Said, don't forget to fill out our survey. It'll help our devs a lot. So they want your guys' feedback. They want all the information, your opinions, even if it's like, yeah, right here. Is the gameplay different? Yes, it's very different. Choose the statements that describes UFL. It features real footballers. There was no handicap. It was fresh. It felt pretty skill-based. Easy to play. Yeah, actually, I didn't look at any of the controls before I started. No scripts. Yeah. High quality. Yeah. Like, I feel like I check all those boxes. I really do. I mean, 1,000-foot level, I feel like I agree with those. Now, you know, some of the things we need to be, okay, this is where you rate your perception of the game's frame rate. I felt like actually there was a few times where it wasn't that great. Yeah, so go through here, fill out the survey. It looks like it wouldn't take that long. And then you provide them your platform ID. Maybe you get some in-game bonuses for doing the survey in the future. That might be something to think about as well. Anyway, guys, that's UFL for me. And I was really, really excited to play it. And I'm honestly looking forward to playing it again because it was, number one, refreshing. It was different. And it felt like you were in control. So that's the video for me today, guys. Again, I want to hear your thoughts and your comments down below. And I will see you in another video soon. It's been Nathan with Counts. See you guys there. Peace out.